Hey guys, hope you're doing well. Got another heavy topic for you today, but we live in rather heavy times, so it makes sense to have heavy topics, I believe. I'm just running around today doing some errands, and I was in between things, and I wanted to go ahead and stop and make this video and read you guys. I got a few verses here that we're going to read through, and we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about a few things today. The gist of the topic, as you may have deduced by the thumbnail, is it's the last chapter. You know, we're in the last chapter of Earth's history as we know it. I believe that. Before Christ comes back, before everything is changed, a new heaven, new earth, which we'll touch on that as well. So, going to cover some ground. There's no way we can fully cover this in one video. It would take a lot of videos, but we'll just talk about a few things, and you guys can chime in with your thoughts in the comments and everything else. Hold on here just a minute. I'm gonna roll this window up so we don't get distracted. I'll turn the truck off. Oh wait, let's show you the view here real quick. This is Humboldt Bay outside Eureka. Well, it's actually in Eureka city limits, but it's cloudy but calm out today. Not really windy or anything. The old pulp mill over there. They got a big old chip facility there where they ship off all these chips to various places. I'm not even sure where they ship all that to, but it's quite a big operation. So I don't know if you can see that on the camera. Anyway, all right, let's not make this too absorbently long. Let's see, get you back in position. Okay, roll this up. Sorry, I guess I should have been a little bit more prepared. All right, let's get into it. So today we're going to be talking about the deception that is happening. The Bible talks about that. So we're going to read a few verses on that. We're going to talk about the general state or attitude of people. We'll read a few verses on that. And then we're going to go, let's see, where are we going to go? And then we're kind of going to go through those, and then we're going to get to the hopeful part, which talks about the new heaven in Revelation, or new heaven, new earth, and new Jerusalem, all that good stuff. So we're just gonna dive right in. Let's start with Matthew chapter 24, verses 23 through 29. And then if anyone says to you, look, here is the Christ, or there, do not believe it. For false Christs and false prophets will rise and show great signs and wonders to deceive, if possible, even the elect. See, I have told you beforehand. Now I'm going to go on to verse 26, but I'm going to pause right here. We talked briefly last week about, some of the deceptions. Now, I think they can include anything, including it can be deceptions through doctrine. It can be deceptions through false miracles. It can be deceptions, whether they're fabricated by man or whether the miracles are fabricated by demons. It's kind of the same thing. If a miracle is fabricated and passed off to people as being from God, and it's not, then it's from the other side. It's from the demonic side. And even if the people just think they're being tricky or whatever, and they're fabricating a miracle, just say like Bethel Church, for example, we talked about last week, or last video. That was a couple videos back, but we talked about that. And just say them, for example, fabricating gold dust coming out of their ventilator system, stuff like that. It's still a satanic act because they're still fabricating something and calling it of God. So, like I said, I don't really differentiate between what people fabricate and try to pass off as a lie versus what a demonic actually doing something miraculous. Both are a lie. So that's just my thoughts on that. So let's go ahead and keep going here. So therefore, if they say to you, look, he is in the desert, do not go out. Or look, he is in the inner rooms, do not believe it. For as the lightning comes from the east and flashes to the west, so also will the coming of the Son of Man be. For wherever the carcass is, there the eagles will be gathered together. Immediately after the tribulation of those days, the sun will darken, and the moon will not give its light. The stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. Then the Son of Man will appear in heaven, and then all the tribes of the earth will mourn. And they will see the Son of Man coming on the clouds of heaven with power and great glory. And he will send his angels with a great sound of a trumpet, and they will gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other. Now, that's pretty awesome, I think. So he's telling us clearly here that we are not to be chasing signs and wonders, basically, because there's going to be a lot of lying signs and wonders. And I hear a lot of people say things like, well, this church or that church, you know, I saw this miracle or that miracle, or I witnessed this or that, and so therefore this must be of God. Well, yes, God performs miracles, but he's telling us right here that in this time frame we're living in, don't use that as a stamp of authenticity for a church or anything like that, because he's clearly telling us, no, don't let that be the gauge. Don't gauge that something's from God because you saw a miracle or witnessed something or even felt something. The level of deception, you know, as we talked about in the last video, is unparalleled in Earth's history. That the time we're living in, there's been nothing like it before. Satan's always been a liar and a deceiver, but the means and the ways he can deceive now, you know, between just doctrinally, with all the confusion and the chaos that he creates, with all the distractions he creates, with, you know, now we're bringing this AI coming onto the scene, which is completely insane. Can AI create some interesting stuff and good stuff? It can be used for good, but I do believe that AI will be used for great evil, and ultimately be a massive part of the beast system and a massive tool in the rise of the Antichrist. I firmly believe that. So yes, we can use AI for good. I used AI to create this thumbnail. It does pretty good with art and stuff. So yeah, it can be used for good, but like I said, in my opinion, it will ultimately be a massive cog in the beast system wheel, or a massive part of the beast system, if not like a key part of the beast system. The beast system exists already, but it's just rising. I mean, like right now we're basically watching the rise of the beast system to its full fruition, if you will. It's like watching some evil flower bloom or something. It's, you know, its petals are coming out, and it's like, if you can imagine like a dark rose or something just coming into full bloom, that's what we're witnessing. It's not enjoyable, and it's not something I like, but the Bible gives us ample warning on these things, and that's why we're talking about it today, because we are living in those times that it talked about so long ago. So let's flip over to 2 Timothy chapter 3, verses 1 through 9. So it talks about perilous times and perilous men. And I think this really describes a lot of what we see in people and in society right now, and it's very accurate. It's amazing. It's incredibly accurate. Um, Gotta love that. I mean, it's God's word, so of course it's going to be accurate. All right, so let's start. But know this, that in the last days perilous times will come. For men will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boasters, proud, blasphemers, disobedient to parents, unthankful, unholy, unloving, unforgiving, slanderers, without self-control, brutal despisers of good, traitors, headstrong, haughty, lovers of pleasure rather than lovers of God, having a form of godliness, but denying its power, and from such people turn away. For this are the sort who creep into households and make captives of gullible women, loaded down with sins, led away by various lusts. I'm going to pause right there, because that really reminds me of the feminist movement, how Satan has exploited this idea of flipping the gender roles on their heads and making the women leaders, and all the feminist ideology and stuff that has done so much damage to families and to the traditional roles. And now no, men don't know what they are, women don't know what they are. And if you don't think that was orchestrated and was well thought out by the enemy, then I don't think that you are thinking clearly, because it's obvious to me how much he has used that movement to do great evil. And of course, there's always some good in everything, or some truth in every kind of movement, every kind of thing. But that's what Satan does. He takes something authentic or good, just say like women's right to vote, things like that, that makes sense. Even a woman's right to work, things like that. But he takes something reasonable or good, and then he completely turns it into something else. But he starts with that, and then he takes you step by step by step clear into something else that is not good at all. That's complete evil. And so that's what has happened with the feminist movement, sadly. So okay, so let's move on a little bit here. Always learning and never able to come to the knowledge of the truth. Now, as Jannes and Jambres, I hope I'm saying that right, resisted Moses, so do these also resist the truth. Men of corrupt minds, disapproved concerning the faith, but they will progress no further, for their folly will manifest to all, as theirs also was. Their folly will be manifest to all, as theirs also was. Okay. So I think that's a pretty good description of society in general. Pride, arrogance, narcissism rules the day, especially you see in entertainment. That's rewarded. It's the stamp of full approval. People get fully behind that, and they wave the banner for those kinds of behaviors. It reminds me of another verse. I don't have it with me right now, but or I can't remember where that was, where he talks about, oh, that's Romans, talks about how people that love this type of sin not only do it, but then they get behind everybody that does and promote it. And so all right, we better keep moving, or I'll get on a rabbit trail. So let's see. We're going to go to Second Thessalonians chapter 2, verses 6 through 12. And now you know what is restraining, that he may be revealed in his own time. For the mystery of lawlessness is already at work. Only he who now restrains will do so until he is taken out of the way. And then the lawless one will be revealed, whom the Lord will consume with the breath of his mouth and destroy with the brightness of his coming. The coming of the lawless one is according to the working of Satan, with all power, signs, and lying wonders. Here we are back to the signs and lying wonders once again. And with all unrighteousness, deception among those who perish, because they did not receive the love of the truth, that they might be saved. And for this reason God will send them strong delusions, that they should believe the lie, that they all may be condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. So this is a pretty brutal ending we talk about. For those who believe the lie, they are condemned who did not believe the truth, but had pleasure in unrighteousness. But please notice, God is merciful because they did not receive the love of the truth. So basically, he sent them, the truth first. They rejected it. And in my opinion, when we go out and we try to talk to people about Christ and we try to talk about these things, and a lot of people will reject it. I, used to take it as a personal, like, maybe I didn't share the gospel good enough or something like that. And that's the reason why they reject it. Not the truth, but the truth is most people will be presented with the gospel in one way or another. And it doesn't always have to be, it can be through an individual. It can be through just the creation around them testifying of God. All the different ways that the gospel and Jesus Christ are presented to a person throughout their life. And so I've come to believe that the average person who rejects the gospel and ends up not putting their faith in Christ for their salvation will probably have done so not just a few times in their life, but most likely they will have done so thousands of times throughout their lifetime. So I just wanted to bring that point up because, it does talk about, and it's just an observation of life, of watching people and noticing that trend. And like he says right here, and they did not receive the love of the truth. So it was a full-on rejection. So that came first, that full-on rejection of the truth, that they might be saved. And then God sends them a strong delusion that they will believe the lie. So just kind of an important point, I think. All right, so let's move on to Revelation. This is the good part. Most time when we think of Revelation, we think, oh no. Of course, because there is a lot about the end times and the whole judgments and all that come. But I'm going to skip right to the good part here, the part for us believers that we have to look forward to as believers in Christ Jesus for our salvation. Because I don't want to hit you guys with just heavy and not end it with a happy, well, actually, this section doesn't actually end with a happy ending, because it talks about what happens to the believers, and then it talks about the last verse, talks about the lake of fire. So I may have misrepresented that somewhat. So all right, let's just jump into this. So Revelation chapter 21, verses 1 through 8. All things made new. Now I saw a new heaven and a new earth, for the first heaven and the first earth had passed away, and also there was no more sea. Then I, John, saw the holy city, New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride adorned for her husband. And I heard a loud voice from heaven saying, Behold, the tabernacle of God is with men, and he will dwell with them, and they shall be his people, God himself will be with them and be their God, and God will wipe away every tear from their eyes. There shall be no more death, no more sorrow, no more crying. There shall be no more pain, for the former things have passed away. Then he who sat on the throne said, Behold, I make all things new. And he said to me, Write, for these words are true and faithful. And he said to me, It is done. I am the beginning, the Alpha and the Omega. I am the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. I will give the fountain of the water of life freely to him who thirsts. He who overcomes shall inherit all things, and I will be his God, and he shall be my son. But the cowardly, unbelieving, abominable, murderers, sexually immoral, sorcerers, adulterers, and all liars shall have their part in the lake of fire, which burns with fire and brimstone, which is the second death. So clear separation between believers and those who, as we talked about in Thessalonians, rejected the truth. So in that last verse 8. Whew, yeah, good stuff. I mean, it's good. It's obviously that's an amazing future that awaits us for those of us who believe in Christ and have looked to him for our salvation. Wipes away every tear, no sorrow, no crying, no pain. I mean, the former things passed away. I think it will be amazing. I imagine a world where we're not facing all these things and not going through all these things. And I'm going to share one last thing and then we'll close out. I know you guys probably have things to do today, so if you've hung out for, it's look like 22 minutes now, well, thanks for hanging out. I'll share one last thing as a dream that I had. It seemed bad at first, but in the end it ended up being good. It was a dream similar. I think I shared one a while back about, it was quite a while back, about, just, I don't know, when you're like that in that half awake or awake stage, or it feels like, okay, I'm in the room on the bed, and then the evil presence coming in and stuff. So I've had that happen more than once, and it was one of those, and I could sense it, and I could feel the hands, of these entities running across me through the sheets and stuff. And same as I had before, where I knew they couldn't hurt me or anything, but it was, it was scary. It was scary, and I called on God and called on Jesus Christ, and rebuked them in the name of Christ, and all that, and they did go away. And then as the dream sort of ended there, I had a verse come into my mind, and this was just pretty revealing to me. And it said, I think it's John 4:23, where it talks about God seeking those to worship him in spirit and in truth. And it was a kind of a big revelation to me, because one of the questions I've had was, so that was the verse that came into mind. It's like, well, what does that have to do with, this dream, or the things we go through as Christians, where we are, tormented and we go through things. What does that have to, how does this tie together? And so I started thinking about it, and I'm like, well, it ties together because it made sense in my mind, because it's like a lot of the reason that we're allowed to go through this process is because we are going to choose Christ despite the circumstances, even when it appears to be a losing battle at times, where we're choosing. So that's an authentic worshiper. See what I mean? Like, that's an authentically worshiping God. Whereas when you choose, like, for those people who are choosing to deny God and be on what appears to be right now the winning team, they're doing it just out of pure selfishness and sinful desire and stuff. If the roles were reversed and we didn't have this time frame that we're in where, Satan's heyday and he appears to be the winner, but if those roles were reversed, those people would pretend to love God because it would benefit them. They wouldn't care. They don't care, and they won't care. Period. So it's like a separation. It weeds out. It definitely weeds out those who, because he talks about, I seek those who will worship me in spirit and truth. Well, yeah, you're definitely worshiping God in spirit and truth when you're worshiping him during the times you don't understand. You're worshiping him always. Like, that is the separation. And so God is seeking that in people. And so he is seeking that faith. He's seeking that kind of worship, that kind of trust. He's always asking us to trust him. I mean, that's trust and faith go hand in hand. And so that's part of the reason for this process. And I mean, there's probably more reasons for it, but the Bible never really says, like, here are the reasons. It just states, like, this is what's going to happen. You're going to, during these times, you're going to go through these dark times. You're going to go through all the times that we're going through. This last chapter of, Earth's history, it's going to have all this darkness, and it's going to have all these things, and it's very accurate. You look around you, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to figure out that these dark times that the Bible talked about coming are here. We're living in them. And so it's something we'll take with us into eternity, and these experiences and stuff, and we'll always, I don't know if it's a development of our character for sure, and it's something I don't think we could have gained any other way. Now that I think about it, like when we go through all these, it's not fun. I don't enjoy it. I don't like it at all, and I know a lot of you guys don't. But I guess I'm just saying it is part of the process, and we do gain something that we will take into eternity with us, because our spirits never die. We're just going to shed these bodies. These bodies are going to die, but and we're going to shed them like an old snake skin, and we're headed, and that spirit we have with all these experiences and in worshiping God in spirit and in truth in good times and bad times, we're taking all that into eternity. So there is gain there. So I'm just saying it's not all for nothing. There is gain for us in that process, as painful as it can be. So hopefully those insights, they helped me. Hopefully they're helpful to you. And yeah, I'm going to get off of here. I don't want to make too long a talk, but yeah, we'll meet up later, and we'll either keep going on this topic or something else, depending. It seems like there's always something, and I never quite know. So I just try to talk about what's the most relevant and on my mind, or what God brought to me to talk about. I kind of gave up on my scheduled stuff that I was trying to do, because it would just, I'd schedule it and go like, I'm going to go in a deep dive and do this and this and this. And yeah, then I just never do a video. So I'm just going to do my best to get into things and when they're on my mind, and when I got time to make a video and come on here and talk with you guys. And yeah, it's all good. Well, thanks for listening. God bless you guys. I will catch you on the next video.